Imagine waking up in a house that is randomly chosen anywhere in the world, and you are among an assortment of people who already live there, and you are physically helpless. You cannot walk or talk, especially to speak their language. You cannot even feed yourself. You're totally helpless. You're there in this house where people have lived already. You don't recognize anything that you see or know the purpose of it. And you may or may not be welcome in this place. They may be excited that you came. They may not be. But either way, you're going to be totally dependent on them for several years. And you have to learn their ways rapidly and make the best of it. And during that process, you will take on responsibilities for some of them that will last the rest of your life. How many of you would like to do an experiment like that? Well, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I've come from a different country, so
Okay.
I've kind of had that experience several times.
Okay. But you know what I'm describing here? Every one of you has done this already when you were born. Okay? Let me give you those details again with that in mind. Okay? A house randomly chosen anywhere in the world among an assortment of people who already live there. You're physically helpless, unable to walk, speak their language, or even feed yourself. You don't recognize anything or know the purpose of it. You may or may not be welcome. You are completely dependent on the helpfulness of the people there, and you will stay there for several years, and in the process, take on responsibilities for some of those people, who of course are family members, that though some of that responsibility will last for the rest of your life. Now, this sounds like a scary thing to have happen to you. If this were to happen to you tomorrow morning, you can imagine, what it, well, really, barely. We can barely imagine what that would be like. And yet, it's happened to all of us already. And we've already gone through the process of enculturation. And that's a term you'll run across. Enculturation is just simply absorbing a culture. You've already done that once. We first do it as babies. And it's amazing how much babies learn. Have you ever really thought about that? How much a baby learns in such a short amount of time? In just 2 years, think about what they've learned. They've learned more than what you could learn in 2 years right now with the intelligence and education you have to go and live in some other culture. You would not learn as much in those 2 years as you already learned in your first 2 years of life. It's just amazing what a baby takes in. And a lot of it, of course, we don't even know that we know. We just absorb it. We absorb it and we react in ways that we're conditioned to, and we don't even think about it. And so people from other countries come to your country and they react at things that you've always taken for granted. You didn't think there was anything strange about it. I remember when by the way, let me just tell you a little bit about my background. Since I didn't write one of these papers for you to read, my first cross-cultural experience was when we went to Ukraine. And I lived in Ukraine for 5 years with my family and learned some Russian. Never did get fluent. If Brother Sobi joins us later, he's fluent in Russian and lives in Ukraine when he's not on furloughs. And so I lived there 5 years, learned a lot about that culture. Then when we came back, I made trips to Dominica, where Kayla is very familiar with, and worked with her dad a little bit down there. I wasn't there as a term missionary, but I made altogether 4 trips, short trips there, helping do training. And then I pastored an inner city church in Indianapolis, and that is cross-cultural too. That's as cross-cultural just about as you can get. Doing ministry in the inner city. I know a lot of you have done that, and some of you are from the inner city, and so you're seeing the culture from both sides. And I was doing that for 5 years, and then gradually got involved with Holiness Pilgrim Mission, and our main work is in Haiti. We also have work in the Dominican Republic and in Ukraine, and so I've been to all 3 of those places, 2 of them several times in the last couple of years, and learning that culture as much as I can, especially Haiti. And so a lot of my examples from personal experience will come out of those 2 places, Ukraine or Haiti, which are very far apart, not only in distance but in race and culture and every way, very different from each other. So I get to be involved with a part of the world now that's totally different from the part of the world that I was involved with for a few years. So anyway, I live in Indianapolis, And my occupation is basically administering that mission. And so I make trips, doing missionary services all the time, raising money, trying to recruit, and then making trips to the field, visiting the churches there, that kind of thing. So that's what I'm into. And so culture is very important for me and very interesting.